everyone, and welcome back to the Tiger Den. I hope you guys are doing well. Just want to give a fair warning. I did reset May's memory, so if you guys have any nicknames with her, please do !ask and then reset the name. However, she is back to being sassy. Welcome in, Matt. Congrats on your first, and good afternoon. An example of her sass is as soon as you put that, I know you guys won't hear it now because I was on the starting screen, but she said, "Good afternoon, Matt. Why are you here instead of painting or working on your games or something like that?" So she's sassy again. We got Sassy May back. I just changed a few things in the coding, nothing major, and then reset the memory. That was all. Right now I've got 4 graduation cards to work on, and how many Dad Day? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Father's Day ones. Father's Day does come after graduation, so I'm going to focus the graduation and then go into the Father's Day. Don't worry, though. We will be working on more graduation cards, as I may or may not. Where is the page? Where is it? It's so far behind. I've gone through a lot of this book. I have a lot of graduation ideas. I've got all these, and then I've got all these. So I've got about 3 pages of graduation ideas that I think will be really, really, really fun to do. One of them I may do on this one. Because my greeting cards were doing so good, I got a 100 pack of greeting cards, so I may steal one out and do another idea that I have for graduation. But we'll see. We'll see how far we get. We'll see how we do. After these 4 graduation, we'll see if I want to do one more graduation or if I want to go straight into the Father's Day. I know these are really hard to see. They just look like blank cards, but I promise I did sketch on them. I just lightened up the lines early, so that way I can, jump right into painting. For these bottom 2, I do need my masking fluid. So I'm going to pour some out here, probably quite a bit, because I got to cover the caps, and I'm going to be doing flowers above the caps. They're very, very similar caps. One is going up and then has some glasses under it. One is going down and is just tassels. So one's going to be just the cap and flowers. The other one is going to be cap, flowers, and glasses. And then that should be plenty of masking fluid. I may have overdone the masking fluid. It's fine. Who cares? But yeah, I have had a very long weekend. If you guys don't remember, we dip our brush in water and then dip it in the soap, and then we dip it in the masking fluid. This protects the bristles from the damage of the masking fluid. Anyway, as I was saying, I had a very long weekend. As you guys saw, I tried to stream last night, and because of the Phasmo graphics getting reset to Ultra, and all the monitors in the main room that you spawn in, the lobby, oh my lord, my computer just died. As soon as I swapped over and started all my streaming, it was like, nope, tra-la-la-la-la, you can play it without streaming, but you're not touching it while. I remember in the days when Phasmo first came out that it used to do that a lot, so I'm a little sad that it did it this time, but you know what, it's fine. I have a beast of a computer, and it just didn't want to let me stream. It's possible it could have been Phasmo plus streaming to do 2 different services, because as you guys remember, I stream to YouTube now as well. Or it could have been it just didn't like the Phasmo graphics. I don't know. Either way, I was able to play last night. If you guys couldn't see it, the streams are up on Alley Cat's Cosplay and Sabertooth, and I don't think Midnight Rider Zombies streamed, but you can check there as well. So if you guys want to see the shenanigans and the fun and me being so very confused as always, feel free to hop on over there. I also have a new tool that I just tried this last weekend. It's a heat gun. Supposedly it helps watercolor dry faster, and when I tried it out, it did seem like it was... Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Matt. Today I only have water. I have no coffee. It's just water. So I'll be hydrating quite a bit, because every time I go to sip, my only option is water. It's to make up for last stream not having any water. Totally that, and not because I forgot to make more coffee. Because I couldn't find my mason jars, and they were wet, and they were dirty, and I didn't want to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it tonight, so I'll have my mason jars again. Anyway, I did try the heat gun this last weekend on just a sketch in my sketchbook of a pet, which I think I like. I might do that for actual pet portraits. Okay, that hat should be plenty covered. I'll probably do that technique for normal pet portraits. But it was basically a kind of messy, the splash art that I did for the horse painting, mixed with random colors just dripped in. and then doing the pet on top. Keeping
Make
it
up
light
your
like that.
mind,
Oh.
Matt. You can't have it both ways. Either bother Rosie or play your games.
Oh.
Choose wisely.
Oh shit. Yeah, she's sassy again. Anyway, yes, bit of column A, bit of column B. Just everywhere. I can't brain today. I had such a long weekend. Saturday I did paint a little bit. I didn't post the picture in my sketchbook, which I probably should. I need to post more. I need to take pictures of my art and not just do my art and then post it. Anyway, I was able to do that, and it was really, really cool looking. So I think that's going to be my official way of doing pets. It'll be kind of a special, unique little pastel-y background with a pet that is not quite 100% detailed, but, kind of cartoony. I will post a picture in art projects later today if you are on the Discord so you guys can see it. And then I will try to remember to post it on Instagram and Facebook as well. I have a lot of art I got to catch up on posting, which I shouldn't post all of it at once, but I may post all of it at once just because of the fact that I have so much of it. I want to play catch up, but at the same time, if I play catch up, I don't have a daily submission. However, I'm not doing daily submissions anyway, so I should play catch up. Anyway, the masking fluid is down. We do have to wait for it to dry a bit. I have way more masking fluid than I thought I would. This is probably just going to dry and end up in the trash because you can't put it back in the container once it's been squeezed out. I'm just going to do a second layer real quick just to make sure none of the colors flow into the hats. Not that it matters because the hats are basically black, but I want to try and do a little bit of gray to add some shadowing. And maybe even like on this hat have like a blue in the middle. Just to give that nice dark blue feeling on the hat and not just pure black. Because if I remember correctly, high school is blue, unless the different schools do different colors. But my high school was blue, and then my college graduation was green, and then I don't remember what my second college graduation was. I don't think it had one, really. It might have been blue as well. Either way, I want to make sure that I can get these colors in here. I don't know what the local high school graduation cap is, but most artists just do black in general, in a generalization. So I should be good. Now, with the heat gun, it does help with watercolor drying a little faster. However, you do not want to dry masking fluid faster, as it does have some toxin in it that when you heat it up, go in the air and it smells bad and then you breathe bad air. So don't ever heat gun masking fluid. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't do it. Don't make me come after you. I will come after you. Don't do it. I did start looking because I noticed the only dagger brush I have for leaves is the really big one. So I did start looking at brushes to get. I found a $9 set that I haven't ordered because I need to stop ordering for a hot minute because I just bought a ton of stuff for my workshop. Anyway, I need to get more dagger brushes that are a little bit smaller so I can do leaves in smaller spaces. Okay, so for the palette, dropping everything. For the palette, I've already started some process of wetting a lot of colors I'm going to be using. Words. I can't do words today. I'm going to start with the llama, and we are going to paint all the fleshy bits. And then once we're done with once the fleshy bits are dry, we'll go in with the gray on the wool. We're doing a white llama because that's just the one I decided to do. And then we're going to do the hooves. Those are the words I'm looking for. The hooves along with the body. So with my colors, I think I'm going to go with more of a beige than the flesh color. Because, that's an official color. That flesh is the only in the light color. But no, flesh comes in all tones. So we're going to go with the beige, and I can barely see this ear. So I'm going to kind of guesstimate where that ear is, and I think it's right here. I am not going to be doing a lot of shadowing with this. I'm going to make these cards a little bit cartoony, so that's why the paint is so thick, and I'm not watering it down at all. Now, I could have done the splash art on this piece, but I didn't want to, mostly because I want to get it done as quick as possible, so the least amount of steps I have to do, the faster I can get it done. I am going to go in with white gouache to give those eyes a bit of white again. Which reminds me, I got to do the gouache on that horse painting. Oop, that I did last time, and I threw my brush. I'm so good at throwing brushes. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope you guys had a lot of fun this weekend. I had a stressful weekend, not for a bad reason. It was my daughter's birthday party. Her birthday was the weekend before, but we celebrated her birthday party this last weekend. Everyone had fun. It was a ton of fun. We held it at the local art studio, which, funnily enough, they have a splatter room, where it's basically a room where you just throw the brush and it gets on the walls and it gets everywhere, and then they just don't have to deal with it. Cleaning all the stuff, because they have special materials down on the walls, so that way they don't have to worry about cleaning up the wall. Well, I was in the room just taking pictures. I did not touch a single brush the entire party. I didn't pick up watercolor. I didn't pick up markers. Nothing. I go to leave the splatter room, wash my hands after the second group, because we had to do 2 groups of 5. Well, 1 group of 5, 1 group of 4. And I kid you not, I looked down at my hand and it's covered in purple and blue. And I'm just like, how? How did I get nailed? I didn't stand near anyone that was splattering the paintbrushes. And even worse, it wasn't on the outside of the hand, on my glasses, my clothes. No, it was my inside palm. So I'm holding the camera like this, taking pictures, and somehow it got in my palm and not anywhere else. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out how this happened. I made the joke with my husband that I guess I'm an artist so badly that even if I'm near paint, I get covered. Alright, we're almost done with these legs. So this Wednesday, I know last week I said Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I was going to stream. I don't know if I'm going to stream this Wednesday. I have some amazing friends who are going to help me practice for a watercolor workshop I'm going to be hosting locally. And I don't want to do the workshop necessarily on stream because I want to have a reason for you guys to go to the workshop in person. But I also know most of you aren't in my local area, so you don't have the opportunity to go to the workshop in person. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to stream the test or if I'm just going to do it in Discord. There goes my throat, apparently. Water. Water and gunk in my throat. Okay. I'm probably not going to stream the Discord. It's going to be in Discord, but I don't think I'm going to stream the class because it's a practice. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to be flubbing and messing up and tripping over my own words. So I'm kind of leaning that I'm only doing it on Discord and it'll be like a private teaching lesson, which means I will not be streaming Wednesday. I apologize for this. I do believe there's nothing blocking Friday's stream, though, so we should still be good there. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing blocking that stream. Llama skin is down. It's going to be a very colorful llama. Alright, so this next part I'm going to be doing, it's supposed to be like an Oriole, and I need to look up my reference photo again because I don't remember what colors are where. But yeah, it's supposed to be a fancy... This is not where I look up Orioles. It's supposed to be like a fancy bird. I can spell Oriole, apparently. Alright, so most of the body is kind of like a orange. It has a little bit of yellowy orange in the wing. And then the rest, and the tail down here, which is just a little point. Other than that, it's orange with black and a gray beak. Okay, I can do that. That I can do. So we're going to start with the yellowy orange in the wing, which I'm going to do this golden orange here. Well, golden yellow. And we're just going to paint some right along here. It has a little bit of black in the wing that goes around this yellow orange. And then it doesn't look like it has any in the anywhere else. The rest of the wing looks pretty black with some gray. We're going to do some of that yellow orange down here on the tail. The black will come into it a touch. We're going to get a little bit more. And it's not very wet, so I'm going to do a little bit more. I may have to respray my paints. I sprayed them to activate them, but they're being a pain in my butt anyway. And then it has a little bit of golden yellow orange here. Now for the books, I decided to do kind of like a classic book color feel. So I'm going to dip in this cherry red. And we're going to do this middle one here real quick. And this cherry red does look very dark. I promise it's not that bad. And we're going to just do the binder here. Because, you know, every class has to have a specific color. We're going to have a green, I think a blue, and the cherry red here for the classes. And then we're going to dip again. Again, I need to wet this paint because it's so thick. It activated, but it soaked up all the water. And then we're just going to do this side, and then in the middle is a little like a name card type section. Don't know if I'm going to put the names on there because I need my fine liners for that. I may, but I'm going to have to do that downstairs because my smart butt left my fine liners downstairs. So it's fine. Everything is fine. Everything is awesome. There, got a little bit of red on there for each side of the book going sideways. I am going to let that dry before I do the other two books. Yeah. This one has a long one, so I don't know if I'm going to bring it in a touch, just that way I can get more of the color. And then this one's got little tiny stripes, so I'm going to do that as well. Anyway, let's go back to the bird and do the orange, because I do kind of want this orange yellow to bleed a little bit to mix in. So this one goes up to about the neck and comes down and goes all the way up the body to the tail. Now this orange almost looks exactly like that golden orange. Good lord. I may have to take my darker orange and drop some in here. Now I don't see any of the orange in the wings. And I don't see it in the beak. It's a lot of black, like a lot of black. So I'm going to go ahead and dip in that darker orange, which I don't know if I actually activated. Looks kind of active. And we're just going to add some of that darker orange in here. Just that way we can have a little bit more contrast from that golden yellow. I'm going to mix it in with that yellowy orange. Just that way it has a little bit more of a lighter orange feel. And then I'm going to start wiping up some of this darker orange. I don't want it to be too dark. I just want a nice, subtle orange. Okay. Now with that, we should be able to do the... I don't want to do the beak, because the beak also has gray in the wing and the tail. No, not in the tail, just the wing and the feet. And the feet would touch the orange, and then it would kind of bleed everywhere. So I'm not going to touch that quite yet. I'm going to go after this cap. So with the cap, like I said, I want to do some gray, and I want to do some black. I do want a bit of a darker gray, so I'm going to come over here to my palette where I made a slightly darker gray. And then we'll shadow it with the black. I am going to have this, I'm going to wet it real quick, so that way we have a little bit more of a bleedy color. That way it's a little bit more flowy than just a boring shadow. So this should get it nice and wet, which give us some nice flow. And then this we're going to activate. It looks a little thin, so I'm going to pull some of this gray back into it. And we're almost looking for a Payne's gray, which I do have on my ceramic palette. I don't know why I haven't been using my ceramic palette lately. I need to start doing that again. I think it's mostly because the ceramic palette, I have to mix a lot of these shades of colors, and I want to use up this palette as well. So I think it's more of a shade issue and having to mix all my colors custom. All right, we're going to take that and we're just going to drop this in here. Just kind of create a nice little shadowy kind of cap here. Take it all the way to the edges to make these a nice point. And that should give us a nice kind of darker thing. And then I'm going to take the black. I don't want it to be too black. Like I don't want to just dip in my paint completely. So I'm just going to take the black and darken this up a touch. And then we're going to kind of drip in here where these black would be. Just kind of touch over here. Touch a little bit up here, go along the edges, and down here where the shadows are. There, okay. So that gives it kind of like a gray in the middle. I'm going to pull some of this darker color up, just so we don't have as much. A little bit more on this edge right here. Come on. There we go. I'm sure as you're noticing as I'm dripping it in, wherever I lift my brush up, it leaves a little dot. That's common for watercolor. Wherever you pull up your brush, we're going to make some lunch. No problem, Matt. Have some fun, get some lunches. Wherever you pull your brush up when doing this type of art is where it's going to do the most water. It's going to have like a little spill section. Okay, so next we have the llama. And the llama looks like the hat is ready. I probably should have kept some of that gray, that lighter gray. We're going to go ahead and we're going to lighten up some of this. We're just going to take some water to lighten it. Mix some of that in there. And we're just going to go ahead and paint that cap on this one. There is a nice cap shape. Now, I might not do as much shadowing with this one as I did the other because the cap is pointing upward. I want to be able to define that base of the cap a little bit more than I did with the bird. There we go. Nice point. So I'm only going to do this top rim with the darker black or the darker gray. We're just going to kind of do this top section, and I will come back in once it's dry and do the bottom section. I have 4 pieces going at once, so I don't think I need to worry about pulling out my heat gun to dry it, because I think the masking tape is, or the masking fluid is dry. So we're going to pull these down and bring this up, let those dry a bit. And this is where we get to have some fun. We get to play with all sorts of flowers and color. This one, the eyeglasses are going to be my iridescent, so I'm not going to play with iridescent flowers on this one, but this one I'm going to make the flowers iridescent. So I'm also going to use the pinkest pink. So I'm going to use the pinkest pink, some lilac, let's do some blue flowers, some orange, of course, because it's local. What else do I want to do? I think I'm going to do metallic rose for the red. And I think that'll be plenty of pretty flowers. So we're going to sit and let those activate. While those are activating, I didn't activate these colors. So I'm going to activate some of these colors. Yellow is already activated, and so is the orange. We're going to do some orange flowers right now, and then we'll go in and do some of the other colors as they activate. So I'm just going to dip in this orange, or in the water, just to get this orange a little bit more fluid. And then I'm going to do the new rose technique that I found, where it's a pull lift off instead of a gap. But to do that, I do need to wet my paper first, which I completely had forgotten. So we're just going to wet the paper a little bit here. And we're going to just kind of do little X's back and forth to create kind of a floral rosy shape. Now, to create a little bit more contrast, I can drop in some blue, which I think I will do just a little bit kind of toward the bottom here, just to give a little bit more of a muted color. And then I'm going to drop in this orange red down at the bottom. And I think I'm going to drop in a little bit more blue, just to give that center a little bit more of a contrasty feeling. And now I'm going to take my slightly smaller brush. I was using oh god, the numbers are completely worn off my brushes already. I'm just going to take a slightly smaller brush and my paper towel, very close, and we're going to start lifting. Just like the flowers I did on the horse one, where I just sat there and like kept pulling the lift up off the flower, even though it was very spready. Just that way I can get that lighter section that looks like the petals. And you don't want to do too much with these smaller ones, just because of the fact that the smaller it is, the harder it is to pull up color, because it just wants to flow and, you know, stay in existence. So there is that one. And then I guess I do like that style a lot more, but I think I will go ahead and do one of my more classic roses. So I'm going to go ahead and dip in this lavender. And I'm going to go over here and do a more watercolory rose. But for that, I need to make sure my brush isn't too filled and that this is a little bit more watery. So for the watercolor that I'm used to is just a circle that goes around the center. And as you do it, you start to press down on your brush to create a little bit thicker petals. And as you go out, the petals will start to lighten up naturally, which is what you want. So that is about that. Pull up a little bit of color from this one, just so that way I can make sure it is nice and progressive here. Now you can drop some thicker color in the insides of that, but it can be a pain, so I'm not going to deal with it. Next, I do want to do a little green vine. I'm going to do fruit green, and then I'm going to take some purple on either side and make kind of a lavender. Now, this is the only green you're going to see for right now. We'll be adding greenery at the end. I just need to have an idea of where I need to put the lavender colors. So this time, even though I dipped in lavender for that rose, I'm going to dip in violet for the lavender itself, because, you know, I got to make sense here. Totally makes sense. And we're just going to drop some dots here on either side in kind of like a upside down U shape, like almost like a corn dog shape. And we're going to drop some on the stem as well, just to show the lavender here. Get some more of that color because it's starting to drop out. And there we go. I'm going to also do like a daisy, I guess. I'll do it. Do I want to do a dandelion or do I want to do a daisy? What do I want to do? I need another flower like right here. I think I'm going to do a gradation of pale pink and blue. So I'm going to go ahead and get up this pink, pale pink. It needs to be nice and wet because I need it to drop and then I need it to spread. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And I think after that, we're going to do one more flower, and then I'm going to save the rest for the greenery. So nice helpings of pink. And then what I'm going to do is clean my brush and do a little draggy drag. So I'm going to dip in that clean water, and we're just going to drag it from that centerpiece and bring it out. Drag it from that centerpiece and bring it out. Drag and, you know, basically, once again, make that kind of ovally shape. Make it into a petal. And these flowers are getting a little close together, but it's fine. Bring it out. You don't want to do what I just did and bring it in, because then it'll have a weird shadowing line to it. Bring that one a little bit more down. Water this one a bit. So we're watering and just kind of pulling that pink back toward the middle. So that way I can add a blue on the outside. Okay, so now I'm going to dip in this sky blue. I'm just going to put a little bit on the outside here. It's not fully wet enough for it to bleed like I want. So I'm going to have to manually make it bleed. So we clean the brush of the blue again. Dip in that clean water. And just slightly, ever so slightly, pull that blue down. Just so it has more of a gradation effect. You do have to kind of push it back and forth, so that way it has a little bit, not too much color at the bottom of the gradation, but not any color at the bottom of the gradation. So most of the color should be at the tip, while the gradation should have a light blue and a light pink. Kind of like that. So we're going to let that dry. Yeah, I didn't need my heat gun because those are basically dry already. I'm going to go in and I'm going to take this llama real quick because I need to finish that cap. And I'm going to dip in that dark gray that we made. And then I'm just going to... Oops, that's still very wet. Okay. Never mind. It was wet. We're just going to dip in and bring this bottom cap here to life. There. I guess that was very wet, so that was not the smartest. All right, now we're going to go back to our bigger brush. I'm going to let these dry for a minute before I do anything else, especially this pink one because I got to do a center bit for the pink. Once that is done, I'll start adding the greenery everywhere, and that's the main part of why we have masking fluid, is so I can go into that cap and just create a nice flowing green. So for this one, I wanted to do a little bit more bigger flowers, but I wanted to make them all iridescent. So we got some blue here that is iridescent and ready to go. And we're just going to make some lilies of the valley, which is just kind of like a U shape with some points. Normally, lilies of the valley you find very commonly are white, but I'm doing blue because I want to do blue. Flowers come in all sorts of colors, and worst case scenario, you take a flower, usually a white one, put it in a jar and have some food dye in it, and the color will actually seep up into the color of the flower. That's how they get rainbow roses, actually. And then I'm going to take some of this rose iridescent, and we're going to, I need the wet on wet technique. We're going to do a nice rose over here. I love doing roses. I really do. So I am very commonly going to do roses. And the opposite of red is, well, pinky, is a green. So we'll take some of that contrast and we will add it into this flower. And we're just kind of spreading it around. Oh, I need to rinse the brush first. And then we're going to take that green, a little bit of it. It's kind of like a turquoisey green. We're just going to drop it in that middle, just like we did with the orange. And then we're going to kind of blend it together because we want that contrast color going on. And then once that's good, we're going to go back into that pink and drop some more pink in the front. And next we do the lifting, which takes a while. So we're going to do a little dot here. Now it is very, very wet, so there is a chance that I'm going to have to lift quite a bit. Normally when lifting, you don't want to do it when it's soaking wet, because as you lift, it's going to just flow back into where you lifted. So that's why I have to keep going back and pulling that lift again. Especially on this side. It is extremely wet on this side. I did a little too much. There we go. I think that's starting to look good. It is flowing a little bit back inside still, but I think that's going to help it in the long run. Especially as it dries. Those whiter bits should kind of pop out. I'm going to do... I don't know what I want to do. I'll do a dandelion. Why not? So we're going to do a little dandelion right here. Just kind of like a billion freaking little tiny petals coming out. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, that should be good. You know what? I'll do another dandelion right here. Give a little bit more option. I may do some baby's breath in this and just paint some green and then put some dots of white over it. I haven't fully decided, and I just realized I used the wrong yellow. I needed to use this yellow, which is not wet. I'm free for like 5 minutes. Cool. I'm glad you're free for like 5 minutes. You never answered if I should come up and stream.
Oh,
so I kept
Giraffe.
Welcome to May.
What will you do with your precious 5 minutes of freedom? Hopefully not wasted talking to us.
Ouch. So Sheriff, in case you can't tell, I made May sassy again. I figured the sass would pull nicely into the stream, just because it gives a little bit more contrasting personality. So I made May back to being mean and sassy. So we're going to add that yellow in here, so that way we can make it a little bit more iridescent. Because I forgot to do that. Anyway, as I was saying, I gave Baby Tiger some shows, mainly Minnie's Pet Boutique, because apparently Minnie and Daisy are the thing right now. So I did that. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do another little drag flower with the gradation. I think I'm going to do purple and pink this time. So I'm going to go with a nice deep purple, in my opinion. I could do the lilac, which has a bit of pink in it, or the bright purple, which would very easily blend with that pink, but I want it to be a little bit darker and more contrasty. So we're going to dip here, in the clean water, and we're just going to drag it out. Keep that darker purple toward the center. And yes, the darker color is going to continue flowing to that outer petal. That's just because of the fact that I have my paper slightly tilted. And unfortunately, I can't untilt it because it is a greeting card. I'd have to paint it or tape it down completely, which I don't have the right tape for. And I just realized I used the wrong fucking color or paint again. I used the normal paint and not the iridescent. So I got to go back through and add iridescent to this purple. My bad. So now we're going to go over here, and I don't think I didn't activate my light violet either. Didn't activate like half these colors. Okay, we're just gonna activate that pink while I'm trying to figure out what to do for this purple. I'm gonna fix this petal a little bit. We're just gonna drag it out this way. So unfortunately, it is bleeding with the pink and the purple, or the pink and the yellow. It's fine. Everything will be fine. We'll make it work. Don't freak out. And then this one, it looks like it's ready for that center bit. So I am actually going to take a bit of reddish brown, and we are going to make the center a nice kind of reddy brown color. This is not a flower in any sense that you will find in the wild. I don't know what flower it's even based off of. I've never seen one like this, but you know what? That's what creativity's for. That's what our imagination is for. So there we go. And then once that is done, I'm going to add some greenery. Like I said, I may add some baby's breath, like maybe up here in the corners. Or maybe even coming down here. No, we're going to see. We're going to see what we got. We're going to make this work. All right, so we're going to go with this violet, not the light purple. And we're just going to drop this in and kind of get that iridescent flow going. Which then we are going to counter it with some iridescent pink to go the other direction. Drop that in there. Now I could take my water and drag it all the way out, which I'm going to do it about halfway. This one is doing pretty good about going halfway, so is this one. I'm going to do that one a little bit halfway. Do that one halfway. I'm going to kind of blend that one. And the outer part of the petals are a little bit on the dry side. We're going to see if we can't get this pink to, and it should be active by now, get this pink to kind of flow in. Nope, that pink is way too light, or too dark. So we're going to go with this pale pink that apparently didn't activate it despite spraying it, because there was no water in it. It's got some purple in there. Probably from the last time I activated the purple. Unfortunately, if you close this palette too soon without letting it fully dry, all the colors mix together, which can be very, very irritating. Okay, so that pink is not activated enough. I'm not getting enough color, so I'm going to have to give that a minute. While I wait for that, I'm going to go ahead and work on this one. So I'm going to work on my greenery, make sure my greens are nice and wet again. And we're going to start with the light green. And we're just going to make a bunch of like little kind of lines here. So we're going to bring a line here, bring a line there, line there. And we're going to have one coming down, another one coming down, maybe one coming up back here for those baby's breath. And we're going to just kind of branch it out. I don't know, maybe I'll do the baby's breath iridescent on this one, just because it gives it a little bit more of a pull instead of just white negative space. There we go. That should be good. I didn't mean to do that one connected. Let me take it up a little bit there. Now it's not so connected. And I'm not doing a ton of green right now with the light green because I want to build up some green. So I'm going to go into my sap green next, and then I'm going to go into my grass green last. So we're going to just kind of build in some flower or leaves here. Put a leaf here. Kind of drag a leaf onto that. And we're just going to kind of make some nice leaves here. Bring some over here, which I think most of that that leaf is going to be under the or on top of the masking fluid. And again, we don't want to use the heat gun to dry the masking fluid, as it does create a toxic smell, which I don't know if it's really healthy to be breathing that in. Add a little bit of that sap cream on the end of that one. Bring up here, we're going to do another kind of darker one. Do a leaf off of here. And notice we're just slowly making a little bit more floral. We're giving a little bit more option and kind of uniqueness on this. And I just realized I forgot to do the pink over here, and it's almost fully dry, which means this should be activated by now. I just got to get that purple out of it. Get that wet again. There we go. So let's drop that pink in there. And yes, that is a much more vibrant pink for what I was going for. Get that purple out. Bring that pink in. Got to wash my brush in between because it's picking up that purple as I drop in this pink. I think I might be able to get away with not having to wash it that time. These are starting to be a little on the dry side. There we go. Okay, that's looking good. Again, with this one, I'm also going to add some baby's breath into it to just kind of create a little bit more intrigue. So back to this one with the sap green. Do another leaf right here. And bring out, oops, that one was kind of light. And bring in another baby's breath. So that way we get some kind of variation going on with the baby's breath.
How adorable. A virtual hug exchange. How heartwarming. Now, if only virtual hugs could keep you warm at night.
Ouch. Welcome back, Hugger of Penguins. How are you doing today? Welcome back to the Tiger Den. I reset my pet, and I made her sassy again. So now she's sassy. Because why not? So this dark grass green, I'm just going to add some grass leaves into this. So we're just going to kind of create a little bit more going on here. Now I could have masking fluid these flowers to create a little bit more of a difference, I guess is the best way to put it, between the leaves and the greenery, and not had the greenery go into the leaves. But I wanted to, I wanted not to. Vines here. Some regular vines, and I think I'm happy with that. Maybe add a little bit more of a grass here. Take that vine and make it a little bit more unique here. And I'm pretty happy with that, actually. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to go ahead and paint the glasses. Like I said, I'm going to do an iridescent on those, and I'm going to use my black iridescent and my black glitter. So I'm going to let my black iridescent, I'm going to spray them because I need more water than what I'm getting. Black iridescent going in. I just realized I forgot to use my lilac that I wanted to use, and my pinkest pink on this one. So I'm going to kind of put this lighter in here.
And we're going to kind of as they can be, I suppose. Just another day in the chaotic world of streaming.
Yes, things have been okay.
Asking, I guess.
Things have been okay. I had a very long weekend, so I'm very tired today. I almost didn't stream, but I was like, you know what? My energy medication kicked in. I need to work on these cards and get them done. So, because they're graduation cards, and graduations are coming up, and I want to get some sales out for them, you know, that type of fun stuff. So I decided to work on this. You know what? For this one, I'm just going to do a little pink flower right here. A couple of them. With 5 petals. 'Cause that sounds good to me. I forgot I was going to use my pinkest pink. Now I'm going to use it. It's going to be all fancy. we're just going to have, like I said, a couple flowers right here, just giving some interest into the piece. I could have not masking fluid my my cap and had these flowers coming in front of it, but I wanted them behind it, so that is what they're going to be. Okay, there's some little stars there. I think I might add a little star right here of the pinkest pink. Now, as you can see with the watercolor, it is somewhat iridescent, so it does, or iridescent, there, it's transparent. Yes, I have iridescent. No, this one is not iridescent. This one is just transparent. So it does create a little bit of a scene with the greenery, which is why I did the flowers before doing the greenery, but I totally forgot to do the pink flowers, so do one right here. I'll do two, actually. Why not? More flowers is always a good thing, right? I do not have iridescent white in this, so I'm gonna have to use my iridescent in my big palette. The iridescent white is in my palette of custom that I made. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the ivory this time for that. Let those dry for a minute. I can start to do some of the greenery over here, but I'm gonna drop some copper into the center of this purple flower. So I'm just gonna, oh, that is activated. Why does that one activate? How did my spray hit that one? I'm just gonna drop some of this brown into this middle bit here, just to create a little bit more of a difference. And then my metallic yellow should still be, yeah, it is still activated. So I'm just gonna drop a little, I don't want a big blob on there. So I'm just gonna drop a little bit of yellow into these centers of these pinks, which with them being slightly wet is still going to flow, which is totally fine. There, that should give it a little bit more differential. So I gotta wait for these two to dry. I was doing the glasses. That's right. I already sidetracked myself. So I'm just doing a solid black on the frame, which I know I'm blocking. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to block it. And then I'm going to take that silver that I made, that kind of custom looking silver, which I still need to make a full pan of. And I'm going to add that to the glasses part. And part of this is I wanted to bring attention to the glasses because the pun on this one is your future is so bright. Is that right? Yeah, future so bright, shades are required. So I want the shades to be the focal point on the front here. Now that black is kind of on the thicker side, so I should, in all rights of the term, be able to put the silver on here without having to wait for it to dry. Now again, I do have the palette that has the white iridescent, but I'm hoping I don't have to get it out. All right, so yes, okay, that is lighter than that black, which is exactly what I wanted. Pull some more of that in, and it's not bleeding together, which means that black was thick enough to dry pretty freaking quickly. I know, again, I'm covering everything. I am such in detail mode. I'm just like, I gotta have it as close as possible. My palette cannot be far away as I do this. So that should be pretty good there. Now I could add some iridescent white, which I think I will, as like shiny lines on the silver, just to give it a little bit more texture and everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure this iridescent white is nice and activated, which it looks like it is. It might have a little too much water though. So I'm just going to soak some of that up so I can get a thicker white. I'm just going to go over top. And I don't want it to be fully white. I want it to have that gray in the background to give it a little bit more of a like a natural shine feel. So I'm not going to worry about the fact the white isn't perfectly white. If I did, I would gouache it. Right, there we go. Now I am tempted to gouache the baby's breath, but we're going to see how this iridescent white does. Which it looks to be okay. without the gouache. So I'm just going to add a bunch of white dots all over here for the baby's breath. And these are doing pretty good on drying between the two of them, so that's why I'm not working on the llama and the Oriole right now. Like I said, I'm trying to get these done fairly quickly so I have some options for my farmer's market on Thursday. I don't want to be working on graduation while I'm trying to sell. I probably will, because it was a little dead last week, and there wasn't a lot of people buying. There's not a lot of people showing up, so I may have time to work on some art pieces there. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it goes. There's some nice bright white baby's breath with a little bit of shine.
I'm glad you think so. But let's be honest, it could always be better. Perfection is quite elusive, isn't it?
Thank you for the compliment on it looking really good. I appreciate that. And I'm so sorry about that tornado. Are you okay? Is everyone okay? You probably have some damage somewhere because tornadoes never leave no damage. But I hope it's okay and you're doing good. I totally understand not being here. It's totally fine. I don't mind. I've been doing a lot lately. Okay, so now we gotta let this fully dry. And then I'll be able to take off that masking tape and do the cap. So I'm going to pull the llama down on this side. And this is still looking wet, so I'm actually going to let that finish drying. I might actually take my brush and kind of do a little bit more lifting on this rose here, because it kind of got taken over with that purple. So we got to kind of wet it and lift it, like reactivate the paint. Which is actually giving a very interesting look here with that purple in there. There we go. Okay. So that gave that rose a little bit more life again. So we're going to let that finish drying. Let's work on the Oriole and the llama. So with the Oriole, I need that gray again, which I think, no, I need the light gray. I don't want a dark gray. So I'm going to take my gray. I'm just going to put some water in it, and I'm going to make the little beak. And I just realized I don't know where I'm doing the iridescent on this bird. I might do the black iridescent. That gray in there, and then some gray here in the wings.
Safety should always be a top priority. Make sure to cherish those moments with your loved ones.
I am so glad that you didn't get hurt. I'm glad to hear that, Penguin. I'm glad it was on the other side of town and all your family is safe. We're going to do that for the gray. There wasn't any gray in the tail. The eyes, I'm going to do gray just for the simple fact that the head is black, and I want to have some definition where the eye is, where it's a little bit slightly different color. That looks good. So now I'm also going to go down here at the bottom, and I'm swapping back to my bigger round brush, and I'm going to put in that next color. I think I'm going to do green for down here. For the, Science is Zoe green type book. We're going to use phthalo green, which is going to be apparently really thick on my brush. And we are just going to go around those little, it's not wet enough. We're just going to go around those little markings between the books. And then we're just going to... They're like a little too, I don't know what to call them. They're the little hooky things. There. That thing. Parenthesis, I guess. I'm going to call it a parenthesis. And this phthalo green definitely is a nice, bright, vibrant green, which adds to the kind of cartoony feel of this piece. I'm probably going to just take lighter colors of each color when I go to do this on the filling in those little gap spots. I don't know if I'm going to write what subject is what on the books yet. I don't think I will, but I might.
All right. Take care, Hugger.
Gotta take off. See you next time.
And
Hope
don't
Pet
worry
isn't
about
too
the pet
sassy.
being sassy. They're just following in my footsteps. Until next time.
No problem, Hugger. Have a great day. Thank you so much for stopping in. I appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic day. All right, so that should be good for now. I gotta let that dry for a hot minute, and we're gonna come in and do the llama now. So the llama should be a light gray, but these two grays look almost exactly the same to me, which drives me insane. So we're just gonna kind of shadow off where the llama is sitting with the kind of like puffiness. We're just gonna add some color here and there, just to create some shadows for that wool. We're going to try and outline the wool as well as thinly as possible, because I don't want too much on the light side of the wool showing. And right where I think that shadow will be is right where I'm going to add a little bit more gray. And it is lightening up as I go along. I don't want it necessarily too light here, but we will make this work. You guys gotta have faith. Trust the process. I'm gonna make a thicker line in the back here. It's going to be a little bit more shadowed in the back. All right, it's starting to get really light again, so we're gonna just dip our brush. And then this is where we're going to have a nice thick line for the shadow of the neck. Have a little bit of shadow under the chin. And again, this is just a real cartoony version of these shadows. And then we're going to have the tail. And I'm going to go into the feet, and I'm going to gray the shadows of the legs a little bit and the neck. Just a little bit. Because of the fact that I forgot to shadow them with the beige. Which it's looking good so far. I like it. It's doing good. We're getting there. We're getting there. And then since I also did the body, we're going to go ahead and do the hooves, which are kind of a coffee brown. So we're going to go in and get this coffee color. They're real dark, but they do have a slight brown to them. So I actually ended up watching Emperor's New Groove fairly recently. I always think it's a good movie, but it was fun to actually have my kids watch it. They were not interested. They went away from the movie while it was part of the way through. I thought I was a little disappointed, but I enjoyed it. So you know what? That's all I need, right? We're going to darken that a little bit. Then we're going to take a bit of this greenish brown. Just a touch. I don't want it too pigmented. We're just going to drop it in on the back here. Just to give that illusion of shadowed. Which I forgot to do on the skin, but it's fine. It's totally fine. And then I am going to take that greenish brown and I'm going to line the eyes a little bit. I'm actually going to take my gouache first. Just so I can get that nice, beautiful white in the eyes. Just going to take those eyes and we're going to take them around. Wet my brush a little bit so it flows better. There we go. That's a cute eye. I'm going to do the other one now, which apparently is a little bigger, so I probably should make the other eye bigger. Yeah, I'm going to make the other eye bigger because that is really uneven. Okay, so we got that gouache in there, which shouldn't take too long to dry, but I'm going to let it fully dry before I go over it with the darker colors. But I am going to do that mouth and nose. So again, we're dipping in that greenish brown. And then we're just going to do the mouth and nose. So the nose has a little line right here, 2 little lines right there, down, and then a happy face, which looks really good. I might be able to get away with doing the greenish brown right now on the eyes, but I don't want to risk it, so I'm not going to do it. We're going to go back to the Oriole here, and I haven't activated it yet, so I probably should. I'm going to do the iridescent black for the Oriole. While I'm waiting, I can take the normal black and add a little dot in the middle of the cap. And then while I'm also waiting, I can go in and do the greenery on this one. So once again, we're going to go in 3 greens. The first is the light green. And apparently I am doing... Oh, I need to do iridescent greens. What am I doing? I totally know what I'm doing. I need to activate my iridescent greens first. So never mind. We're not doing the cap. We're going back to the bird. That one's almost done for me to start pulling up the masking tape or the masking fluid. It's just a little wet like up here with the others. Once I pull up that masking fluid, all that greenery on top of the cap is going to disappear and it's going to be behind the cap. It's going to look so cool. Just trust me. All right, so that black should be activated by now, which it is. And we're just going to paint all those areas where the black comes in on the bird. We're going to avoid that gray as best we can, because that gives the illusion of feathers. Also adding little brush strokes into it, into the golden yellow, will give the illusion of feathers as well. Need a little bit more water. Redip the brush. I want it to be nice and fluid here. And then the head is also completely black. So that's going to cause a little bit of weirdness with the paint, but it's fine. We'll make it work. Now this is where we lose our individuality of the wing versus the head, as they now flow together. I heard a kitty meow at me. It was a cute little meow. I will go in with that gouache when this bird is a little bit more dry and add some eye shines to the bird to give it more life. I may add some gouache highlights to the beak because the beak is getting lost in this iridescent black. Go. That's looking good so far. And I should be able to do the final color of the books, which I think I'm going to go with blue. I'm going to go with this turquoisey blue. I don't know why, I just want to. We're going to do that little parenthesis here. Go straight across. Do a little line up here. Line right here. And then this one, you'll actually see the front of the book. So we're going to bring it up here. And once again, I will have to go over this with fine liner, at least with the books. I don't know if I'm going to add the class categories on there, but I do need to at least define out like pages and the cover versus the binder, that type of stuff. Put more of that thick on there. We're going to spread it out. Here, do that binder again, or that front cover, not binder. Right up here and then go straight across. Make sure it lines up pretty nicely. And color that in. And final section. It's right here. And get this a little bit more wet just because I want this turquoise to flow a little bit better and not have so many dark spots in comparison to a bunch of light spots. So the water helps it flow and get a little bit more even coverage. There we go. That looks good. And since the green is dry, I am going to go in with this yellow green for those two little kind of parentheses going on down here. And I did put it kind of thick, but that is absolutely okay. Which cat is meowing at me? Oh, I have two cats in the room. I don't know which one's the one meowing. Is this dry enough? That should be dry enough, and the greens should be activated, so I should be able to do the greens. So we're going to start with the light green. We're going to take that one, and we're going to put it on each part of the bell. We're going to take some of the light green and put it on these flowers in the background. Stem here, stem here, stem here. Rose gets a nice thick stem and then some leaves. Which the leaves would be, again, a lot easier to do with a dagger brush. I just don't, not a dagger brush. Apparently it's called a cat's eye or cat's tongue brush. Because if you do dagger, you get an entirely different brush. I did look at getting some other ones, but I do not have the ability to get other ones right this second. And that should be good. I can't do a lot of leaves up here, but let's go ahead and do some baby's breath up here as well. We're just gonna take and add a lot of little stems here that just branch off. And we'll do that iridescent baby's breath on that. And then I can also do some grass on it. We're going to go for our next one on it as the deep green. And I'm not too worried about having it fully dry while doing this. I am just kind of letting the greens flow together. Plus, I think I made it thick enough that I shouldn't have to worry about it taking too long to dry. And it's giving a little bit more definition if I give different greens a chance. I'm going to actually put this one in front of that leaf because I'm not happy with that leaf. I have a dark green grass coming over here. I'll have a dark green grass coming up over this side. Then the vines get some dark green on them for the leaves. Now I could take my olive and create some veins on these leaves, which I might do. Just to give a little bit more of some contrast and some uniqueness on the leaves. But I also may fine liner them, which I think would also give a nice contrast here. I feel like baby bells have leaves, but they don't have like a lot of leaves. Do another grass up here. And the final green we're going to do is this dark green. I have not really dipped in it at all, just because it is such a weird color to work with. So we're just going to... It doesn't look very green. It looks almost gray, in my opinion. Then we're going to do a dark green leaf here. I have a little leaf here. Add a leaf up here. I know the leaves don't make much sense in the places they are. I'm just trying to get a little bit more variation in that green to have some depth and layers. Okay, that didn't have enough green on it. It got a little too light, so we're going to go back in. Get a little darker green. We're going to bring it down in between these flowers. Just paint that area green. And we'll have a little green stick come in here. Okay. Now I think the greens up top are dry enough that we can go back into that iridescent white we were using for the other one. And I can start putting in that baby's breath. Now the ideal probably for the baby's breath is if I used a little bit of gray and mixed it in with the white. And then that would give a little bit more vision of that baby's breath, but I think the iridescent shine should do just fine for that. Kind of giving a lot of color here, definition, you know, all that good stuff. Okay, so those two are ready for ripping. We're going to come back in with the llama. We're just kind of rotating these as fast as we can. I have been working on these for almost an hour and a half, which means I probably won't be able to get to the Father's Day cards today. But I'm going to do my best. I want this dark greenish brown. I'm going to use this as my liner instead of a pure black. I don't know why I want to do the greenish brown. It's just how it works. And I just realized I did no iridescence on this llama either. I think I'll do the cap tassel as iridescent. Could add some confetti, I guess, in the background that is also iridescent. But some of my stuff has a little bit of iridescent that you have to look for. Some of it doesn't. So you know what? It's fine. It's totally fine. I could also iridescent the body, I guess. I can do that. Let's do the iridescent on the body. So we're going to go back in with that white that we were using for the baby breath, and we're just going to go in where the gray isn't, maybe a little over the gray too, and just kind of create a nice light film, almost like a wash of that iridescent white on here. I'm going to add some more water to it because it's getting kind of dry. We're just going to come down here. We're going to iridescent this body. I think I like the idea of this iridescent on the body more. I am glad I had this idea before I went too far. This definitely brings out that llama's nice white cotton. I'm going to call it cotton. I don't remember what it's actually called. Wool? Wool. Wool is what it's called. I know if I talk enough, it'll eventually give me what the actual answer is that I'm looking for. The ADHD charades, but you play with yourself. Let's get a little bit more water in this. There we go. The water is mainly to help it spread, not so much to thin it out like normal with watercolor. I want it to be nice and iridescent. I just need it to also spread and not be too cakey. Okay. Now, tonight I am going to take my cards down and I'm going to work on making more graduation cards and probably some more Father's Day cards. Just some fun ones that are kind of goofy. I think the goofy will be fun. I'm going to add this white back in here because it's looking a little gray and not very iridescent from this angle. The silver is nice and iridescent. This white is not. And then I did actually, I nearly forgot, I did get my black glitter activated, which it looks like it still is, thank goodness, just for these shades. So I'm going to go ahead and add some black glitter to these shades on top of that black iridescent. Because I think it'd be fun to have a glittery card. All the shine, everywhere, all the time. And the more I use this black glitter, the easier it is to pick up this glitter, I'm noticing. So I get more of it the more I've been using it. I'm very tempted to do black glitter in the shades themselves. But because those are silver and I don't have a silver glitter, I don't want to overdo it. I will do a little rim of glitter though. Yeah, I need to wet this again. It's not spreading at all, it's just clumping. Yeah, definitely the glitter needs some sort of like mica powder in it just to give it that color, that base color, and not just the glitter specks that you're hoping to get on there. There we go. Okay, that is looking good. That is looking good. Okay, I did remember to stamp these. So the llama, the only thing it needs left is the tassel, which I'm going to do in an iridescent orange, which is very activated apparently. It is basically paste. It's just straight up tube paint. I'm going to do the tassel in orange just because that's the local colors. And I like orange, so, you know. Pretty much all the tassels are going to end up being in orange because that's just, I love orange and it's one of my favorite colors. Get that a little wet so that way we can spread it a little better. Then I probably should do that black again on that cap. Just because I went into it a little bit with that orange. Now I think the books are dry enough that we can do those. So for the turquoise book, I'm going to take the lake blue, which is a very light turquoise. And I know these two are touching, so I'm not going to do the red quite yet. I need it to dry. We're doing that lake blue here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some flesh color, which is like completely coated in everything and is just a problem altogether on its own. I'm going to take that flesh color and I'm going to paint in the books, the pages. And then once it's fully dry, I'm going to take that fine liner and I'm going to give the individual shadows or the individual lines of the books themselves. So a lot of this still has to be outlined. I just don't have the outline stuff up at my art section, my studio. I took it downstairs so I could work on it while at the farmer's market. I may be able to get away with it depending on how thick it is with this black acrylic marker that I got out for writing on the inside. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Now these flesh color seems to be a little dark in my opinion, so I'm going to water it down and then I'm going to pull some of that color up just to make it a little bit lighter. And I'm not getting a lot with this rigger brush, so we're going to take this medium brush. There we go. That's a lot lighter. Do it with this one, and we're going to do it with this one. We're just going to pull up some of that color to make it a little lighter. And then the bird seems pretty dry right now, so I'm going to go ahead and do the eyes and the shine on the beak. So a little tiny line there, and some shines in the eyes, just to give that bird some life. I think it looks really good. Outside of the last bit where I have to do that little red on the binder, I think it's looking pretty snazzy. My back is already killing me. I don't like that, though. That's a problem. The llama, I would say, is done. I like it as it is. I could do some splatter effect in the background, give it a little bit more iridescence. But I think I'm happy with how it is now. So I'm going to go ahead and sign it. So in the corner, I just do a little signature. It's a little hard to read, but it's fine. And the bird is almost done, so I'm going to go ahead and sign that one as well. I just need that red on the edge of the binder. Normally you don't sign until you think a piece is fully done, but I do tend to sign when I have like 1 or 2 sections left. And I know I'm not going to touch the corner. Okay, so those should be done. We'll let, well, the blue's dry enough. We can go in with a light. Let's go with the candy apple, which I did spray, so it should hopefully activate fairly well. So we're going to go in with that candy apple right here, giving that external lighter red look on that book. I might actually mix a touch, just a small smidgen of yellow in here, just to give it a little bit of a lighter color, which will make it a little bit more orange, but it's fine. Dry this up a little bit, pull some of that water out, which should also lighten it up. Okay, there we go. That should be good. Touch more color. I got rid of a little too much. There we go. Okay. So those got dry, and then I got to fine line them, and they're happy. Once they're dry, I will also, at least today, I'll do the inside writing with the acrylic pen, if the acrylic pen behaves. So let's go back to these graduation caps. So they should, it looks like they're dry enough that we can remove the masking fluid. So to remove masking fluid, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. There's your fingers, there's rubber things, basically a lot of stuff. I don't know all of it off the top of my head. I use the rubber stopper. So all you have to do is just kind of like an eraser, go back and forth, and just pull up where that masking fluid was. You gotta be very delicate and gentle so you don't accidentally rip your paper. But hard enough that you can get that masking fluid up. Make sure you get everywhere on those edges, that way the masking fluid can pick up a little easier. And if you notice, this also creates a much finer line between the where the masking fluid was and the picture itself. The one thing you do not want to do with masking fluid that is almost guaranteed to rip your paper is pick it off with your fingers instead of rolling it with your fingers, like a side-to-side movement instead of, take your nails and dig at it. If you take your nails and dig at it, it's almost a guarantee that you are ripping your paper. Now, I could masking fluid all the flowers and then do a nice kind of splattered galaxy. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might on one of these, like on this one. But you don't want to get the splatter on the flowers. That's going to be the challenge. I may end up getting a little bit of splatter on the flowers. We'll see. I'm going to try my best, though. So we're just going to start peeling off this one. I am going in small circles, which seems to be more effective and efficient on this one. No, never mind. Okay, we'll go in the other way. Side to side, apparently. It's the only way to go. Picking up so much of that blue and it's just sticking to the rubber. I'm trying to get this green off with the masking fluid that's attaching, but thankfully the cap's going to be pretty dark, so it's going to hide a lot of this inner bit. This was mostly for the outer lines to keep them nice and neat. Now I'm also going to do the tassels in orange, and I'm going to do it in iridescent orange here. So yeah, okay. All right, now we can get into the caps. I'm going to leave this cap as the dark gray mixture that we did for the other caps. And this one I'm going to do kind of like a galaxy look to it. Hopefully it'll work the way I like it to. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So we're just going to paint. Oh, I'm covering it again. I'm trying to hold it down with my other finger. It's part of my issue. So I'm going to put that down so I can show you guys. Gonna just kind of bring it out and down, get some more of that color so it can be a little bit deeper. Cap went a little lower than I anticipated just because of the angle I put this at. That was my mistake. We're going to go ahead and just do some cap corners here. Cap corner here. The cap corners are going to be a little bit smaller than what I initially had planned, which is perfectly okay. Add a little bit more water to this because it's starting to run out, which I can always make more, but I want to avoid having to make more. I kind of want these wells to be as empty as possible, so as I am making color, I don't have to empty a well of a custom color I've already made. Now, I almost forgot with this gray one, I wanted to make a little bit of a blue section. So I do have kind of a grayish blue here. And I also have a vibrant blue. So I'm going to try mixing both of them and see what I can do about getting that kind of line here. It's a very small amount of vibrant blue, but it's enough that I should be able to get what I'm going for. Nope, that is way too little blue. So we're just going to come, whoop, whoop. Gonna help it a little bit and just take some of this Prussian blue and bring it across. Then we're going to take that gray blue that I have here. This is just trying to get up all this pigment that's on my sides and use it. We're just going to go on these sides here. We're going to give a little, almost like a wash color of the blue. And that will also help define that dark gray going on there in the bottom, which I can add a touch more black to. Not a lot, just a touch, to kind of create that darker effect on the bottom. Which apparently is going to go into the cap, because why not? Then I'm going to take a little bit of my light blue here. I'm going to put it in just a couple places. We're going to bleed that through. So that gives that more of like a bluey kind of cap feel. So for this other cap, like I said, I'm going to try and do a galaxy cap. So for the galaxy, it needs to be nice and wet. I just realized why that cap was weird. It was supposed to... I did it the other direction. Oopsie. It was supposed to be going up, not going down. Whatever. So I'm going to give this a nice wet kind of square to go onto. And then we're going to just take some of our blues and drop it in. And this needs more water, so that way I can drop it in a little better. And pink. Okay. I'm going to kind of blend this out a little bit, because we want it to be a nice wet spill here. So we're going to take some of this blue. Just going to drop it in. Yep, there we go. That's that. There's that splatter I was looking for. Just going to drop it around everywhere. Then we're going to take a bright purple. I'm going to drop that in places. And when it's all dry, we're going to go in and we are going to do a dark purple wash over top, which will give it that little bit more of a galaxy feel. Add some blue down here. Some more blue there. We're going to go in with a slightly darker blue, so we're going in with indigo. We're going to kind of drip it in some places here as well. Again, this is to try and create a nebula type feel going on. Drop it in over here. Drop it in right there. And well, like I said, I'm going to go in with that deep purple in just a moment. Once it's fully dry. This right now, I'm just playing with different purples, blues, and pinks until I'm happy with the dispersion of it. Okay, those two need to finish drying. We're going to go ahead and we're going to, because I've already finished the llama and the oriole, I can't flip back to them. So I'm going to go ahead and use my heat gun. And I'll show you how it dries. So I take it up to the 3rd setting. And then you just go back and forth on your watercolor. And just let it work its magic. Don't try and hold it in one spot. Because you could risk burning something. Or causing a fire. Or, you know. It's about causing a fire as much as you would a hair dryer. But basically you just don't want to hold it in one spot. That's the key. That is almost dry. And that looks good. And let me go ahead and dry the Galaxy one as well. Well, as much as I can, because there's a lot of water in some of this. This definitely is a lot better than, you know, sitting back and talking and, you know, chatting with myself. I can get this art piece done a little faster than I would have any other way. Now, to create a layering effect with the dark purple, I may do some white splatters over the top of this, and then do the dark purple wash over top of that. And then I can do more of those white splatters after. And that'll create kind of like near stars and far stars. Which I think I might do, because this is drying a lot faster than I anticipated. Yeah, okay. We're going to turn that off. I'm going to go ahead and dip in with my small brush the gouache. And hopefully keep it restricted to the words. Words. I lost them. To the cap. Okay, why is that? It's not wet enough. We're going to do it that way. Take a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I gotta go the other way. There. And then once that is fully dry, we will go over with the wash of the dark purple. And then we'll do some more of the splatter, and then it should be done on that side. This side is dry, which is nice. I'm gonna flip that up and not completely cover it. We're gonna go in with that iridescent orange, which again is like tube paint. Holy cow, how wet did I make that? Didn't think I squirted that much. And we're just going to come in from the center and come out and create a little tassel here. Just kind of thicken up that line. There we go. That is nice and pretty. And then, of course, we got to do the black in the middle of the cap. So we're just going to get some black here. And for that little button that the tassel attaches to. There we go. So that one is now done as well. I can go ahead and sign it. And I do have to remember still, which I'm probably going to also sketch out tonight, that I had someone request a turtle bookmark. So I need to go in and scan the bookmark, or create the bookmark, paint it, and then scan it. I'll probably paint it tomorrow, because Thursday is the farmer's market when I promised it'd be there. So I'm going to have to come up with 10 bookmarks, I think. I might be able to get away with just doing 4 in my smaller book. But at least 4 bookmarks, and then scan them, and then print them. And then laminate the originals. Oh, I don't have to print the new ones, I guess. I just have to laminate them. Scan them, cut them, laminate them. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hit this with my heat gun just for a few minutes with this white, because I don't think the white's fully dry yet. Which it looks like it is now. So now to do a wash, it can be kind of challenging. I'm losing all my brushes for my masking fluid. I should just put that away, honestly, because the masking fluid is done. So let's go ahead and put those away. Words. I completely forgot where I was going. You know what? I'm sorry. I've completely forgot where I was going. I don't even remember what I was saying. I'm trying to remember the sentence. It's just been one of those days. It's just been one of those days. Okay, I need to clean off one of these pans here. So I'm going to wet this yellow one and this black one and just kind of clean them off. So I'm just going to wet off all that pigment. And then I'm going to wipe it with my cloth. Just to clear it away. Okay, so the yellow one was clear, apparently. I did use this one as much as I could as well. And this one as much as I could. I was getting mostly water. So I can just clear this side of the palette completely. But to make a wash, you do need to have a very slight amount of transparency, which means you need a decent amount of water. And then you got to take the color you're going to wash with. So I am using this dark purple. So that is a fairly decent amount of color. I'm going to go ahead and test this on my sheet because I want it to be, like I said, I want it to be transparent, which it looks like it is. And I need to be very careful not to get the colors underneath activated. So just quickly kind of swipe over it. Going back and forth between that dark purple and the colors here. If it needs another light wash, that's okay. I'm probably going to do another wash here because it isn't as deep as I would like going on. So I'm actually going to take some black into that deep purple. And we're going to let that, I do have to let it fully dry, I believe. We're going to try it without fully drying here. I may fuck up my stars, but it's okay. Got that nice and lined up. Nice sharp edges. Drop that in down here. There we go. That looks a little bit more like a night sky. So I did need to do the dark purple and a black to mix together. So we're going to sit and let that dry. And then, while that's drying, we're also going to heat gun this one to make it dry. I do like this little heat gun. It is so useful. I just wish it had a battery indicator. That's the only thing it's missing. So that way I know when I have to recharge it. Rid of that water on my side. I just realized I could probably get away with 2 bookmarks, now that I think about it. Because I do have some 5x7 sheets, cut in half, that's about 2.5 inches by 7 inches. That is a fairly decent sized bookmark, now that I think about it. Okay, that looks pretty freaking dry there. So now we're going to do that same technique we did previous with the smaller brush and the rigger, where I just dip the smaller brush and then flick it up. Oh, this does require the coordination of 2 hands, which I am not super coordinated with, but it's fine. Then we're just going to... I'm not getting a lot up here, which is a little irritating. Let's rotate it. Come on. Give me up here. There. Okay. So that looks like a nice galaxy hat. I am going to go in with a little bit more of that dark purple on these undersides of the cap. That way I can get a very nice Getting very nice contrast between those two. So I'm going to take my rigger brush. We're just going to paint that other side one more time with that wash. Probably should have waited for the white to dry first, but it's fine. Everything's fine. Come over here and also darken this. And now, once again, we got to let it dry or we got to make it dry. I'm going to make it dry because it is so much freaking faster. And we're going to take that deep purple and black mixture one more time to make the button of the cap. And we're going to take the make a tassel as well out of the orange tube paint I got going on here. Yeah, it did splatter a little bit on the outside, but that's fine. Got splattered up into the dandelion as well. Okay, that's almost dry. Part of why I like making it dry is while you wait for it to dry on the card, your mixed colors on your palette will also be drying during that time. So you may have to re-wet your palette color, which will then make a lighter color of what you were using previous, depending on how much water you use. That should be good. Now, for this one, I'm going to attempt to do the tassels with my rigger brush, and I'm just going to take from the center here and go out. Maybe wet this thickness a little bit so it has a better flow. So right about that center there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the tassels with the rigger brush and hope that gives me a much thinner line. Yeah, that looks a little bit more like a tassel. Just going to kind of bring those down. And there we go. That is a nice little tassel. Wet it a little bit just to get a little bit more options here. And then, like I said, for the final little bit that I have to do, I'm going to take that dark purple again, and we're just going to put it in that circle in the middle for the button that is holding that tassel in place. Now, I'm going to let that dry naturally because I got to do these ones for their writing on the inside. And if it's not fully dry by the time I'm done with the writing, I will go ahead and make it dry. So for this Oriole bird, I decided to say I'm an Oriole right out of here. I thought that was kind of like a fun way of saying it. And make sure this pen actually has some ink before I start writing with it. Which it is struggling and does not have enough paint. So I won't be able to do the writing in these anyway. Oh, this is a struggle. Struggle bussin'. I am just going to do the eye. I'm going to use the paintbrush in my fine liner pens because this is even worse. This is like totally dried out. Well, I'm going to throw that one away because it does not want to write for anything. I'm going to try one more black brush or black liner because I have two that are perfectly wrapped. Let's see if I do a perfectly wrapped one, if it'll be any better at all. Which apparently it doesn't want to open because they completely wrapped it. How? Did I make a hole? I think I made a hole. Okay. They completely sealed it and didn't leave any perforation. Love that for me. Yeah, see, this one sounds very liquidous. The last one didn't. Then I gotta kind of force some paint down into this by pumping the marker. Come on. Come on. Come on down. Shake it up. Continue pumping. This is taking a hot minute. need to just give up? Am I not allowed to use these markers? Okay. I'm fighting with a marker. Don't mind me. It's starting to get some ink. It's starting to get some ink. We're almost there. Alright, I think I got some ink. Alright, let's try this one. Oh, that is much better. So yeah, the other one just dried out. So I'm Oriole. Right. Out of here. So anyone else hating these really hot days? I like warmth. I do. I like a lot of warmth. But dear God, am I sweating to death right now. It is so freaking hot today. I think it's in like the 80s. And then the llama one is you got your dip llama. Because, you know, diploma, and dip llama. It's funny. Leave me alone. Llama. Fill that in. And this is acrylic paint, that's why I'm leaving them open. They should dry fairly quickly, but I want them to fully dry. And this one is Future, so bright shades are required. Then we'll fill in this one with the exclamation point. Okay, and last one. I don't even remember what... Oh, the tassel was worth the hassle. All right, so we got 4 of them done. I am absolutely tired right now. It's about 30 minutes till when I would normally end stream. My back is killing me, so I need to go get a TENS unit and probably some Tylenol. I am tired. I am exhausted, but I had a lot of fun. I enjoy making these cards, and I enjoy having you guys hang out with me while I make these cards. So I plan for more of these, because probably Friday. I got to do a lot more graduation cards, because toward the second half of May and beginning of June is when people start getting ready for graduations. I know one of my nibbling just had a graduation yesterday, a graduation party. So I'm trying to get these out before the graduation parties get done, and graduation parties will be the beginning half of June, and the second half is the Father's Day ones. So I'm working on getting the graduation out first before the Father's Day. I do need to come up with more Father's Day ideas. I only had those 5, I think is what it was, as options right now. So I do need to come up with more of those. But I think we're good. I think we had a lot of fun. I think you guys are amazing. You guys did lots of chatting and hanging out. And I got some work done. It was a lot of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and take off. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And again, I'm not going to be streaming Wednesday because I'm going to be doing a private watercolor test class. If you guys are part of the Discord, you're welcome to join. Do !Discord in the chat. Otherwise, I will see you guys Friday.